Welcome to our first hold review / unboxing of climbing holds. Today we're going to talk about Axis climbing holds, designed and shaped by Frank Bogerman in the Netherlands. Total legend. If you ever see any of his content, definitely worth watching. Really cool character. He's been in the industry for a very, very long time and definitely knows what he's doing. Today we will talk about the Geometric Plywood Monotex. It's a set of plywood macros that are shaped to be used as handholds, so that's why I'll be referring to them as macros. We've got them in fluorescent violet. I've already unwrapped a couple of these, so they don't normally arrive at your place this way. They normally arrive roughly looking like this. We'll go through them shape by shape, and then I'll explain a little bit more about the entire series. So that's everything unpacked, all 10 main shapes. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. All the uneven numbers are the slopier shapes, similar to this and this, where all the even numbers are still vertical at the start, but then more in-cut all the way to 40 degrees. In hold 1 and 2, we literally have two perpendicular faces, so mirrored, so you can do all sorts of work with them. Super fun. 3 and 4. 3 is a 10-degree sloper, 4 is a 10-degree in-cut. Kind of like this. Again, perfectly matching. And then we've got 5 and 6, 20-degree sloper, 20-degree in-cut. 7 and 8, 7 30-degree sloper and 30-degree in-cut. And the remaining 2, so 9 and 10, shape 9 and 10, 40-degree sloper. Quite tricky to hold on anything that's less than the vertical, and then 40-degree in-cut, the juggiest of the lot. As you can see, I've already laid them out a little bit with an offset. They're super fun to set with, especially for slabs. So if you're doing lots of slab and lots of dynamic slab setting, I would sort of highly recommend getting doubles of the first 4 sets. If you're setting more steep dynamic stuff, get doubles of the more in-cut options. So to clarify, in terms of size, every single shape is 80 centimeters long, and they've got varying widths. In terms of the depth from the climbing wall to you, 01 and 02 are the deepest, coming closest towards you at 160 mil, where shape 9 and shape 10 at 107 mil, I think, so relatively shallow. So they don't really get into the way of anything, even if you set high density kind of setting. So actually super fun, super versatile. Let's talk about the entire geometric set. So Axis has a couple of hold families essentially, so geometric is one of them. So geometric range is a total of 44 sets across 189 holds in total. In the plywood part of the geometric set, we've got 21 sets with 23 shapes. These are the first 10. The entire 23 shapes also exist in dual text. So obviously these are all of the full text. The dual text ones then just have these faces completely no text. So then you've got dual text with both textures. So for the remaining 23 sets, we have 166 shapes, from tiny foothold to quite large polyester range. And they visually tie in really nicely together. Okay, and then just to showcase a little bit as to what these holds can do visually, I'll just screw them onto the wall. A little bit of offsets just in their actual sets, and then we'll play around with it a little bit in a different way. So that's set 1 and 2. As you can tell, our backdrop unfortunately didn't take the paint very well, so I'm going to have to repaint it. Alright, could be worse. It's harder than it needed to be. Beautiful. So yeah, I think that looks pretty nice. Okay, so here we've got holds 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. Even numbers are always the ones that are in-cut. So as you can see, we can do lots of quite cool stuff in terms of just moving holds between them. So basically shearing the holds along one another, but I'll also mount them in a couple of different ways. You can quite nicely combine the different numbers to one another as well. I'll show that in a second, but yeah, as I said before, really fun even from any angle pretty much. So if you were to set roof boulders with these, I would highly recommend sticking to more of the even numbers towards the end, so maybe doubling up on 6, 8 and 10 just to get a couple more extra holds. So we also run a commercial bouldering gym, and we have doubled up on 6 and 8 and tripled up on 10, just to get us a little bit more depth in a roof, because we've got a relatively large roof sector. And for the slab set, we've doubled up on 3 and 5 and tripled up on 1. Especially on slab, you can combine a couple of the shapes really nicely with some of the more in-cut shapes. So let's talk about shape 10 in reverse combination with some of the other shapes. So you can still butt them into one another and still grabbing space. So if you were on a slab, you could very easily make this still holdable, and then for a step onto here or something similar, you can then fully block the top edge as well, or align that so you could run another one on top. Same goes with the top edge, but that is more blocked. So you'd have to step this to a holds at 8, like this one over here, to create a little bit more space. So you can go down 4 numbers in order to get a relatively blocked but open grip, or going down by only 2 numbers for grip to be relatively blocked. That works. And that works. So yeah, that actually works across all shapes. Yeah, as you can see, they're quite nice and versatile and super stackable. We set these in conjunction, like in sort of patterns all of the time. So most of the time when we set them, you'll see them in sort of structural sets. I'm also taking some of the slopey ones. So let's take hold 3 combined with hold 5. Something along these lines. Something like this would actually create a relatively nice open. Let's say your gym has more slab and you're looking to set with these mostly on slab. I would probably just triple up on the first 3 double sets. You could do a double set of all uneven numbers just to give you a couple more slope. If you're doing a bit more dynamic stuff, vert or overhanging, double up on all of the even numbers, and you'll have a really good set that you can always work with. So also to kind of talk a little bit more about the actual manufacturing side of things. So there's a top coat polyester resin, so it's super durable. Yeah, as you can tell, we've got the main gripping surface in the center, and then a slightly off angle section in here. It makes wrapping a little bit harder, which is good for the setting side of things. And then at the front here, we've got the main wraps. So quite often we end up setting slow transitions between moving sequences. The screw holes are also placed in a position where you don't really get them for your fingers very much. So you can see there's no screw holes on the actual gripping surfaces. On the thumbs, they tend to go into or next to the screw holes. But once there's a screw in there, it doesn't actually make that much of a difference. In terms of screw holes, every single screw hole, you might not see it because there's overspray in the screw holes, but we actually have metal inserts. So yeah, in terms of the underside, we're talking standard plywood volume. This marking here is actually a microchip insert, so a RFID chip. Lines are glued and screwed, and that's basically it. Depending on your wall angles, you can also set up corners, so leading corners coming into here, pretty much unblocked and so forth. Especially nice if your corner changes by 20 degrees at a time. So it could go from all the way blocked to slightly open, depending on what you've got to work with. And even the same sets that would normally fit, you can use them to unblock. So, cool. Now we've seen it, how we can use it on on the wall. Just a quick recap: shapes always varying by 10 degrees, so slopey to in-cut, they always come in pairs. Uneven ones are the slopers, the even ones are the in-cut shapes. The entire range is fully IFSC certified, so definitely already have seen them in lots of World Cups. This set entirely as is. We have doubles and triples of lots of the shapes. In this color is available on our shop, so if you do want to purchase it, jump on our shop. In terms of longevity, because it's a polyester resin top coat, it is super durable. This is more of a competition texture than it is an actual sort of top coat resin texture, which you find on lots of markets. Surprisingly, you can probably see it. It feels quite rough, but it's not as bitey as some of the other volumes that you can see right out of the box. Not actually too bad on the skin. For comparison, this is what the same hold set, slightly darkened actually, surprisingly. Looks like 4 years into use at Beta Park. So we can see that texture has definitely worn down a little bit. It's gotten a bit smoother, but the general integrity of the hold is still completely fine. This has just recently come off the wall, so it's still a little bit dirty. But yeah, no cracks in any of the seams, no delamination issues or anything like that. Quality-wise, absolutely top-notch, and even the color holds up over time. So yeah, can highly recommend them. In terms of who this set would actually be for, we've mainly just talked about commercial walls, or how commercial setters can use them. But we actually sell these quite a bit to home wall owners as well. To be honest, more of the in-cut shapes. Most home walls are way too steep for any of the shapes that are sort of anything less than the 90-degree one. The actual sets 1, 2, 3, and 4 are probably the most sold for home walls, because even 3 in-cut 10 degrees, this is actually still holdable on up to 45 degrees with good compression. This is a good training hold. Because it is plywood, obviously you can also screw smaller holds to it. We see this quite often used on training walls. So yeah, use case, pretty much everything super versatile set, especially if you were to combine it with the PE sets or the smaller sets. Lots of these sort of shapes that you can then arrange as footholds around the main shapes. So I hope you enjoyed the sort of unboxing review style that we've just sort of gone through. It's kind of a new thing for us, but we'll be doing it for lots and lots of holds in the future. If there's anything particular that you feel like we didn't talk about that you'd like to hear, just let us know and I'll put it into another follow-up video. We do also have more stock arriving in other colors, especially of the greater Geometric series, and then once they arrive we'll also do a review on those. Yeah, let us know what you want to see next, and thanks for watching. See you next time.